Well, tonight the budget details have been announced.
We'll be telling you what it means for us here in our region and for the pound in your pocket.
It was billed as a budget for growth, and there was certainly a boost from the Chancellor for drivers, first-time home buyers and the region's thriving science sector. But inflation is rising and the economy slowing. Labour branded the budget Del Boy Economics.
We'll have reaction from the east of England throughout the programme. Matthew Hudson's at Cambridge University's Business School. Emma Hutchinson will have the view from Westminster, and our family finance expert Michelle Slade is here to answer your budget questions.
Right, let's just run you through the main budget headlines. There's a triple boost on petrol prices. Not only is next week's fuel duty rise scrapped, there's also a suspension of the escalator that raises prices above inflation. And on top of that, a further cut of a penny a litre that took effect just a few minutes ago. There are no new rises for alcohol or cigarettes. The threshold at which we start paying tax will be raised to more than £8,000 next year. There's £70 million for science research in Cambridge and Norwich, and £100 million to repair the nation's winter potholes. First-time buyers get a boost as well, with a loan towards a deposit on new homes. But the overall growth of the economy has been pegged back, while inflation could be as high as 5% this year.
Well, we've been out on the streets of Norfolk and Northamptonshire gauging your immediate reaction to the budget.
If they took like 5 pence or something like that, then there could be a difference. But a penny, nah, man. I think they need to try a lot harder.
Could have been a lot better for the sort of working lady and general folk.
Hopefully I am, due to the slight increase in the child tax credits, and obviously with the penny a litre coming down in the petrol, it's going to cost me a lot less to come to work as well as to take my daughter to school and things.
As pleased as you can be, but it does look like things are still going to be going up in price.
It's all a move in the right direction, yeah, but you know, there's always people who lose out as a result of these budgets as well, isn't it? So it's sort of give with one hand and take with another.
So that's what some of you think. Thanks for that. But how did the budget go down with the experts? And what will it do for jobs and the economy, specifically here in the East?
Well, live now to the University of Cambridge Judge Business School and our business correspondent Matthew Hudson. Matt.
Yes, the Judge Business School is, of course, one of the centres of economic learning, and is based here in Cambridge, which is one of the economic powerhouses of our region. And here in Cambridge and right across the East, there's perhaps been more interest in this year's budget than we normally see, perhaps because of the severe economic circumstances that we find ourselves in. So what did business people and ordinary people make of what George Osborne had to say today? We've been finding out.
We have put fuel into the tank of the British economy, and I commend this budget to the House.
They don't stop work for much at First Choice Marquees in Thetford. But bosses here have been looking forward to today's budget and any help the Chancellor could offer to people and businesses.
I think it's going to help individuals. I'm not quite so sure about the benefits to business. Corporation tax will help us, but these are benefits that are going to come longer term rather than immediately.
The cut in fuel duty will be welcomed by drivers hit hard by the soaring cost of petrol. Peterborough Council runs more than 250 vehicles for refuse collection and street cleaning. For every extra penny on a litre of fuel, the annual bill for Peterborough rises by £10,000.
With fuel costs going the way they are, I would imagine that lots of people will be investing in technology, and that won't be that long before I think you see all electric or predominantly electric refuse vehicles.
CAT's Coastal Accessible Transport Service run an on-demand bus service in rural Suffolk. In Thorpe Ness near Aldborough, it's a community lifeline for people who don't drive.
The drivers are so helpful. They always take my shopping and put it by my door. I couldn't ask for anything nicer.
Rising fuel prices could put bus services at risk.
We've gone from 124 a litre last year. We're now 145 in this area a litre. That's horrendous. Budgets just don't stretch to that level.
CATS also run a volunteer driver service, taking people for medical appointments. Petrol prices are now so high, the volunteers can't cover their costs.
Yes, I am subsidising the service. And again, as like everybody else in this time of austerity, sort of cash is not that easy to come by.
I can tell the House that I have been able to find, again from this year's extra bank levy, an additional £100 million to invest in new science facilities at the Barbraham Research Campus in Cambridge, the Norwich Research Park for Environmental and Life Sciences.
Our idea is to transform this into a commercial science park, boosting jobs, boosting the local economy, and we're looking over a 10 to 15 year period of generating 5,000 jobs in the area.
Please come in and see the Lucas house, which is a 2-bedroom apartment. We have a separate bathroom, and then you come through to the open plan living dining room space.
The average cost of a house in the east of England is nearly £175,000, £10,000 more than the national average. So a new government-backed shared equity scheme to help up to 10,000 first-time buyers get on the property ladder is likely to be popular. Thetford-based transport specialist Simon Long Removals is one of many firms hoping to expand. Today its boss gave Mr Osborne's efforts a cautious welcome.
Any boost for the economy, is going to help the private sector. Certainly the taxation issues in making sure they don't become any more of a burden.
Not surprisingly, the budget got a rapid thumbs down from opposition leader Ed Miliband.
Growth down last year, this year and next year. It's the same old Tories, it's hurting, but it isn't working.
But people and businesses across our region will be hoping that in tough economic times it leaves them that little bit better off.
So that is the key question, Matt. Will it leave them better off?
Well, I can't stand in the Judge Business School and pretend to be an expert, but I know a man who is. He's a former government advisor who now lectures here. He's Michael Kitson. Mr. Kitson, the backdrop to this, of course, is the slowing down of economic growth. How serious a problem is that, do you think?
That's a very serious problem. If we look at the figures that were announced today, the economy is going to grow significantly less than we expected, about £6 billion less in terms of economic growth this year than we expected, and that's a serious problem for the economy, both in the region and for the economy overall.
Now, the Chancellor has made his calls. They will affect people in this region, businesses and individuals. Has he made the right calls?
Well, I think what's lacking is a real strategic, long-term strategic plan to get the economy growing again. We saw small piecemeal policies, but they're not really an overall plan for growth. We haven't even got a plan A for growth yet, let alone a plan B.
And so what should his next move be if he's to rescue the situation, in your opinion?
What we need to do is look at the strategic sectors in the economy that can generate long-term growth. Sectors such as the creative industries, the green industries, high-technology manufacturing. Those sectors require a lot more investment in them to get in terms of long-term growth and get that economic growth rate up.
Kitson, thank you very much indeed. I suspect that the economists here will be talking about this well into the evening with plenty of different opinions. So in the meantime, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you for that, Matt. So what does all this mean for you and me? Well, we can all earn more before paying tax. There's a cut in petrol prices and help for first-time house buyers.
Well, with us tonight, the personal finance expert Michelle Slade from Money Facts. Thank you very much indeed for coming along tonight. Now, she's going to be answering your questions later, but first, briefly, Michelle, let's just talk about one specific area, and that's families. How did they get on with the budget today?
Well, the Chancellor made it very clear that while there's no increases in your personal tax, there's no mass giveaway either. The 1p cut on the fuel duty is obviously going to help families, as will the rise in personal allowance. Also, there's no increase in the council tax, and for those going abroad, no rise in the air duty. So there's some there, but nothing major.
Nothing too special. All right, Michelle, thank you very much for now. We're going to have Michelle back with us later in the programme to answer your questions on the budget.
Yes, here's how you can get in touch. You can email us at jonathanandbecky@itv.com. You can write on our wall at facebook.com/ITV Anglia and tweet us at twitter.com/ITV Anglia. We look forward to hearing from you. So, what's been the political reaction to the budget from the region's MPs?
Well, our political correspondent, Emma Hutchinson, is live at Westminster for us right now. It was certainly busy in the chamber, wasn't it, at about 12:30 this afternoon. Emma, how did it go down there with our MPs?
Well, Jonathan, over the past week or so, every MP that I've spoke to from our region, particularly those in rural constituencies in places like Norfolk, Suffolk, Bedfordshire, Northamptonshire, has said that the major issue in their postbags has been the cost of petrol. So that cut in fuel duty was very much welcomed by most MPs. But the question is, how much difference will it actually make to motorists?
The market is driving the overall price. The oil price has gone up dramatically, $115 a barrel, and just a while ago it was it's 80.
So the truth is you can't make much difference.
We can make a difference.
Well, a penny off duty is really welcome. The real reason why oil prices are going up, though, are global, and it's around VAT going up here locally. And I think on both of those there isn't any fundamental action. I would still expect that in a month's time petrol prices will be higher than they are today, and that's the way that people will really judge George Osborne's budget.
I can guarantee that if the rate had gone up, we'd be having queues right now to get in before the rate went up. And I think it's more symbolic, perhaps, because you make a valid point. I think it's perhaps more symbolic that this is a government that is listening.
Now, this isn't a budget that will make a massive difference to what people have left at the end of the month, but George Osborne will be hoping that people will see those small changes in fuel duty, small changes in the income tax threshold, and actually they'll believe that the government are listening to them. Labour, on the other hand, say, well, look at the growth figures. They also say, look at the unemployment figures going up, and they say that's what will count and that's what is a problem for the economy.
Thank you, Emma. Now, we'll be reporting from the region's brand new Olympic venue in a couple of minutes, but first we return to the big story of the day.
Yep, the budget dominates, of course. The Chancellor said it was a budget of recovery, that it wasn't a tax-raising budget, but neither could he afford a giveaway.
Still lots of measures announced, and you've been sending in your questions. With us, our personal finance expert, Michelle Slade from Moneyfacts.
Yeah, Michelle, welcome back. Let's go straight to the questions. Here's one from a man called David Morse from Sandy in Bedfordshire, who emailed us to say he's a self-employed domestic and commercial cleaner. He says he's got a company car plus one other. He wants to know if today's budget helps him with regard to his fuel and also the road tax as well.
Well, I think the fuel is probably the main sort of focus of today, the 1p cut, and also the stop of the planned rise from April, and also the indexation. So that should be a big help to him. Also, obviously, with the help with the potholes, hopefully that should mean no extra repairs on his car as well.
That's also nice, isn't it? Of course, he says also he doesn't smoke, but he does have a drink once in a while. Any news there for him?
Well, no rise on alcohol, so again, good news there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have had some Facebook posts too. Angie Harlan from Cambridge, she says the cost of living has increased, but not the wages. We're heading for the divide again. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Obviously, a lot of people still struggling. You know, Angie's saying she's struggling to keep the roof over her family's heads. What advice do you have for families like Angie's?
I think the main thing is to shop around for all your personal finance deals. Do your own sort of mini budget. Look at your savings, for instance. Are you getting the best rate possible? If you're coming up for a new mortgage, then make sure you shop around and get the best deals. Not always the big banks offer the best deals. Sometimes it's the small building societies. Look at your energy prices. Can you swap those as well? So there's lots of things that you can do just to try and bring down your own costs.
And I suppose you can shop around as far as petrol as well, can't you? Because we've actually had plenty of Facebook postings here. Donald Damien says 1p off petrol. It's gone up by 4p in a week. It's not enough. Matthew Reed, 1p cut on the fuel joke. It's a joke. Paul Shelley says, I can now save about 40p a week on my petrol. Only 30 years of saving. I'll be able to afford a holiday. Nice one.
I think, yeah, that's the thing. There are websites now where you can look around and find where the cheapest price is for your area. Obviously, you wouldn't want to travel too far to try and get those, but if there's something locally and you can get a better deal, then you should really go for it.
And also on Twitter, Nikita Hurst from Cambridge has got in touch on Twitter. She's worried about buying her first house, but of course the Chancellor mentioning today a scheme for first-time buyers.
There is, yeah, a new scheme today. It's a shared ownership scheme. Basically, you get an interest-free loan for the first 20% of the loan, so you have to raise the first 5% of for yourself. But it's only on new properties, so if you're looking to buy, say, an older property, then it won't actually apply to you.
OK, well, thank you very much, Michelle. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for now. But if you sent in a question or still want to ask one, you can, because we'll be continuing online after we go off air on ITV1 at 6:30.
Yep, you can watch and join in by going to facebook.com/ITV Anglia. And when you're there, you can click on